Good morning, spiritual companions. We are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Chapter 10, Sri Ramakrishna at Siampukur, Sunday, October 18th, 1885. The doctors had definitely diagnosed Sri Ramakrishna's illness as cancer. No proper arrangement for his treatment and nursing could be made at Dakshineswar. He needed the constant attention of a physician, which could not be given at the temple garden. Furthermore, the devotees who lived in Calcutta found it very inconvenient to attend on him daily at Dakshineswar. Therefore, the older devotees rented a small 2-story house in Bagh Bazar, Calcutta, and brought the master there. Sri Ramakrishna, however, did not like the place and went to Balaram's house. In a few days, a new house was engaged in Siampukur, in the northern section of Calcutta. The master was taken there and was placed under the treatment of Dr. Mahendra Lal Sarkar. The new building had 2 large rooms and 2 smaller rooms on the second floor. One of the larger rooms was used as the parlor, and in the other the master lived. Of the 2 smaller rooms, one was used as a sleeping room by the devotees, and the other by the Holy Mother. Near the exit to the roof was a small, covered, square space where the Holy Mother stayed during the day and prepared the master's food. It was afternoon. Dr. Sarkar arrived, accompanied by his son Amrita and Hem. Narendra and other devotees were present. Sri Ramakrishna was talking aside to Amrita. He asked him, "Do you meditate?" He further said to him, "Do you know what one feels in meditation? The mind becomes like a continuous flow of oil. It thinks of one object only, and that is God. It is not aware of anything else." Sri Ramakrishna was talking to the devotees. Master to the doctor, "Your son does not believe in the incarnation of God. That's all right. It doesn't matter if he does not believe in it. Your son is a nice boy. Why shouldn't he be? Does a mango tree of the fine Bombay variety ever bear sour mangoes? How firm his faith in God is. That man is a true man whose mind dwells in God. He alone is a man whose spiritual consciousness has been awakened and who is firmly convinced that God alone is real and all else is illusory. Your son does not believe in divine incarnation, but what does that matter? It is enough if he believes that God exists and that all this universe and its living beings are the manifestations of his power, like a rich man and his garden. Some say that there are 10 divine incarnations, some 24, while others say that there are innumerable incarnations. If you see anywhere a special manifestation of God's power, you may know that God has incarnated himself there. That is my opinion. There is another view, according to which God has become all that you see. That which is the absolute also has its relative aspect, and that which is the relative has also its absolute aspect. You cannot set aside the absolute and understand just the relative, and it is only because there is the relative that you can transcend it step by step and reach the absolute. So long as I consciousness exists, a man cannot go beyond the relative. Doctor, quite true. In Dr. Sarkar's opinion, God created men and ordained that every soul should make infinite progress. He would not believe that one man was greater than another. That was why he did not believe in the doctrine of divine incarnation. Doctor, I believe in infinite progress. If that is not so, then what is the use of leading a mere 5 or 6 years' existence in the world? I would rather hang myself with a rope around my neck. Incarnation, what is that? To cower before a man who excretes filth. It is absurd. But if you speak of a man as the reflection of God's light, yes, that I admit. Girish, smiling, but you have not seen God's light. Dr. Sarkar was hesitating before giving a reply. A friend who sat near him whispered something into his ear. Doctor, to Girish, you too have not seen anything but a reflection. Girish, I see it. I see the light. I shall prove that Sri Krishna is an incarnation of God, or I shall cut out my tongue. Master, all this is useless talk. It is like the ravings of a delirious patient. A delirious patient says, I will drink a whole tank of water. I will eat a whole pot of rice. The physician says, yes, yes, you will have all these. We shall give you whatever you want when you are convalescent. There are signs of perfect knowledge. One is that reasoning comes to an end. Doctor, but can one retain perfect knowledge permanently? You say that all is God. Then why have you taken up this profession of a Paramahansa? And why do these people attend on you? Why don't you keep silent? Master, smiling, water is water whether it is still or moves or breaks into waves. It is God who dwells within as the pure mind and pure intelligence. I am the machine, and He is its operator. I am the house, and He is the indweller. Doctor, let me ask you something. Why do you ask me to cure your illness? Master, I talk that way as long as I am conscious of the jar of the ego. Think of a vast ocean filled with water on all sides. A jar is immersed in it. There is water both inside and outside the jar. But the water does not become one unless the jar is broken. It is God who has kept this jar of ego in me. Doctor, what is the meaning of ego and all that you are talking about? You must explain it to me. Do you mean to say that God is playing tricks on us? Girish, sir, how do you know that He is not playing tricks? Master, smiling, it is God who has kept this ego in us. All this is His play, His Lila. A king has 4 sons. They are all princes, but when they play, one becomes a minister, another a police officer, and so on. Though a prince, he plays as a police officer. To the doctor, listen, if you realize Atman, you will see the truth of all I have said. All doubts disappear after the vision of God. Doctor, but is it ever possible to get rid of all doubts? Master, learn from me as much as I have told you. But if you want to know more, you must pray to God in solitude. Ask Him why He has so ordained. The doctor remained silent. Master, well, you love reasoning. Listen a little to the Vedantic reasoning. A magician came to a king to show his magic. When the magician moved away a little, the king saw a rider on horseback approaching him. He was brilliantly arrayed and had various weapons on his hands. The king and the audience began to reason out what was real in the phenomenon before them. Evidently, the horse was not real, nor the robes, nor the armor. At last they found out, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that the rider alone was there. The significance of this is that Brahman alone is real, and the world unreal. Nothing whatsoever remains if you analyze. Doctor, I don't object to this. Master, but it is not easy to get rid of illusion. It lingers even after the attainment of knowledge. A man dreamt of a tiger. Then he woke up, and his dream vanished, but his heart continued to palpitate. Some thieves came to a field. A straw figure resembling a man had been put there to frighten intruders. The thieves were scared by the figure and could not persuade themselves to enter the field. One of them, however, went near and found that it was only a figure made of straw. He came back to his companions and said, "There is nothing to be afraid of." But still they refused to go, and they said that their hearts were beating fast. Then the daring thief laid the figure on the ground and said, "It is nothing, it is nothing." That is the process of neti neti. Doctor, those are fine words. Master, smiling, what kind of words? Doctor, fine. Master, then give me a thank you. The master said the words thank you in English. Doctor, don't you know what is in my mind? I go to so much trouble to come and visit you. Sri Ramakrishna asked Dr. Sarkar to have some refreshments. The devotees served him with sweets. Doctor, while eating, now I say thank you for the sweets, but it is not for your teachings. Why should I give you that thank you in words? End of that day. End of today's reading.